am a massage therapist, and I specialize in preconception, pregnancy, postpartum, and infant massage. So I am all about the creation energy.
Yes. It's so profound work. One of the things that people don't understand is that babies start adapting to their environment inside the womb. So,
Absolutely. And if you think about it, in the womb, they're constantly held, right?
mm,
So there's kind
yeah,
of that argument of like, don't spoil your child by holding them too much. And that's
yeah,
an insane argument. Hold your baby as much as you want.
yeah,
Like, like touch is only affirmative.
yeah,
It's used in a therapeutic way. It's absolutely not
yeah.
like you you're not going to spoil someone by touching them too
Yeah,
much.
well, I have something. If for those who don't know, I wanted to share this with you. So, Touch Research Institute. I was looking at touch deprivation, which is a real thing, guys. But there was these American adolescents, and they had really no touch, no hugs, things like that, versus French kids. And the American ones with less touch or hugs were more aggressive verbally and physically. Get this, Sally. And when in this study they introduced massage therapy to the American adolescents, their violence not only decreased, but their empathy increased
Yes.
just by
There's a
massage.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that is an absolute correlation. I love the Touch Research Institute. Tiffany
Mhm,
Field's amazing. The work they're doing there. Like, if you want to know anything about massage and a study and has it been done, the Touch Research Institute has done it. Like, they
mhm.
study everything, and it's so profound, but also so simple. Like, of course,
Yeah,
like what happens when you fall down and skin your knee?
yeah.
Like, you put your hand there. Why? Because
Mhm,
there's the power of touch. Like,
mhm.
instinctively, if something hurts, you put your hand there. Your
Yeah,
stomach hurts. Like, we instinctively know how to nurture each other and hold each other and provide appropriate touch. And I think that the study that you're citing is such a profound study because, something that I always say that my clients kind of make fun of me for is, if everyone got a massage once a week, there would be no war. That's what I say all the time. Be no war. And I think we're
mhm,
always like,
mhm.
hippie lunatic, but think about it. Like, all of those studies that talk about violence and touch and the decrease in violence when there is
Yeah,
appropriate and therapeutic touch introduced, like, it's
yeah,
true.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
it's true.
and
I didn't know.
nurturing increases compassion. I thought about the workplace because I do a lot of trainings in the workplace, and I know it's a difficult because people say don't touch at work, and so But imagine if you were um, in your environment, if you were approaching it with that kind of mindset,
Right.
that like you keep saying, an appropriate touch. I
Yes.
call it a
That's
professional empathy. What were you going to say?
Yes, yes. I think that's a very important piece to add too. Like, this
Yes,
doesn't mean that you can go around groping people. That's not appropriate.
not
Um,
appropriate.
and like, you always need to ask consent before you touch someone.
Yeah,
Even hugging, anything like that. It's
very true.
very appropriate to say, can I hug you, or something along those lines. Um, but yeah, the like, I think people get we're a little puritanical in our culture, and so people are confused about what is appropriate and what is not appropriate
Yeah,
touch.
people are scared to go by their instinct because of where we are now. Um, but the benefits of touch, we could talk about it. We talked about it the other day a little bit about serotonin, the oxytocin, the bonding hormone. So literally, you have these sensory perceptors on your skin, and the touch. The moment the massage therapist or that touch happens, it sends the signal through the spinal cord up into the brain, and then the brain releases the feel good chemicals. So it's very much a physiological response.
Absolutely. And those are also tied in together, the
Mhm.
physical and the physiological and the emotional. Like, I don't think you
Yeah.
can really separate them. And I don't think we
Mhm.
need to separate them. Like, in the West, we call it a relaxation response, where your blood pressure decreases and your oxytocin increases, and all of these great, yummy, good technical things that you can study. Right. But also, like, I just think it should be common knowledge. It
It's
feels that
not.
it
It's
should be
this is
like,
why we're doing this. This is why
like,
we need to share this
you
conversation.
know, there are a lot of studies about like a hug lasting longer than 60 seconds
Yeah,
that releases oxytocin. And when you've been hugged by
you
somebody
feel
that
it.
a good hug, or if
Yeah.
you go to hug somebody and it's kind of a hug, like you can tell,
Yes.
yeah, okay, sorry,
Yeah.
didn't mean to. But yeah, therapeutic professional massage 100% can
Yeah.
work out your aches and pains and work out like any technical issues that you have in your physical body, but also it opens up the pathways for your nervous system and helps your improve your blood circulation and your lymphatic flow, and also that energy field that we have. We all have energy running through our bodies, which if anybody believes in acupuncture, that's energy work. You're moving the chi, which is the
Yes.
main energy in your body. And so appropriate touch moves that energy in like that really profound way.
I can imagine when your clients come out of the massage, you feel that euphoria, you feel that lift, and it's again, it's all related to those feel good chemicals that are coming through the body, and just by the power of what you're doing. Can you share a little bit about how you set up beforehand? Because I thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, so I also am an energy healer, and I studied energy
Mhm.
healing in a few different forms, but the most in depth I did was the transpersonal energy healing. And for me, the way I set up a session is before I go in the room, I try and clean and clear my energy, and I focus on equanimity and neutrality
Mhm.
and being more of a conduit and not putting myself into it. So I bring my feet onto the ground and I let my energetic feet dip down into the earth and tap into the earth energy. And then I open up my crown chakra and bring in the celestial energy from above. And those two come to meet in the body, and then the energy comes out the hands. So I also call in any benevolent beings that want to work through me and in the room with me.
Mhm.
And um, I do this silently, and uh, don't. I don't make big announcements about ghosts in the room. That freaks people out sometimes. And I'm not calling in anything that is harmful. I always say any benevolent being that wants to come and work may do so at this time, and then they stay in the room. They cannot follow people around and
Good.
um, but my main people that I work with, my entities that I work with, is Guan Yin, who is the goddess of compassion. And she is said to have 10,000 hands, and in each of the hands has 10,000 eyes, so that she can see the suffering on earth, and 10,000 hands so that she may help us with compassion and grace. So that's kind of the main entity that I personally work with, and that's really more of a support system for me to remember to be
Mhm.
non-judgmental and to
Yeah.
come in with compassion and grace for every individual being,
Mhm.
because I don't know what people are going through. And it's not people say one thing
Right.
verbally, and then their physical body's saying something else, and then their energy field saying an additional thing. So I try and take myself out of it, is kind
Mhm.
of the most important lesson I've learned from doing massage for so long,
Mhm.
is not to put any personal issues or things that are going on with me that day in the
Mhm.
session. I try and be as clear and neutral as possible. That's the goal
Yes.
every day. Yeah.
Yeah. We both believe that it's really important to we advise as well is that when you're working with somebody, consider that as well, because it's really important that because that energy is something that is transferring, and what space they're holding you in is super important. For like we talked about this yesterday, Sally and I. For me, I'm praying for my clients as they're doing their work. I'm a certified hypnotherapist, and I do a lot of brain training, and or if I'm doing a workshop in a workplace before I enter that room, and like you said, that I'm guided to serve in the highest capacity for this human being, that I have love for, whether you're a stranger or not. So, and we both meet people where exactly where they're at. They're where they're at.
Absolutely. I
Mhm.
love that phrase, like meet you where you are. Like I really
Too.
think it's so important to
Yeah.
meet people where they are in that moment at that time.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I see repeat clients and they'll say, well, what's going on. And I'm like, I know what happened last time, but what's going on with you right now in this moment? It isn't always the same. Oh, I always have the shoulder thing. Okay. And also, how you feeling about it today? You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
because most of the questions I'm asking people about their physical body, I'm really listening to the language that they're using and the energy they have behind it. Some
Mm.
people, you have like one type of client that comes in and they're like, there's a lot of stuff wrong. I'm such a mess. You're never going to da, 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 da. Right. Like the avoider, like, I don't know. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, that's an energy. That's a specific energy.
Yeah.
Um, Another one is like, nothing's wrong.
Mhm.
Okay. That's another energy, like, so I'm always trying to, like, with my energy, calm and ground the space for the
Mm.
person to come in. Sometimes, like, just saying, like, this is what's going on with me as a client is very helpful to kind of dispel
Mhm.
any frenetic energy you had from, like, driving there, parking, getting
Yes.
coming in the office, like any of
Yeah.
those kind of things. And then you set the space to get them on the table. And it's really interesting because, I've worked at a lot of spas and clinics, and people are very like, let's get the people on the table. You've got to get them on the table. And I've
Mm.
found that if you spend a little bit more time, I mean, 2 minutes more, letting them speak, the session is much deeper than, okay, face
Mm.
down, let's go.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's setting you up that, like, we're doing a thing and we're working, and it puts you in this like frenetic energy.
Yeah.
Whereas if you kind of let them speak, they start to soften a little bit,
Mm.
and then they get on the table and they feel a little safer, and then their musculature can relax.
Absolutely. Vent it out. I give them 5 to 7 minutes and then we're going to go do the work.
Totally, totally. Yeah,
Another thing my head is always in research. Sally knows this. is
I love
is
it.
because I really love what you do, and then the space that you hold for people, because I've been around it personally. That when we touch ourselves, it's different than if a massage therapist touches you to the brain, and the sensorial perception, the input is lessened than when someone, and I was here beforehand touching myself, and I thought, oh, I sometimes tell my husband to like touch my hair when I want to fall asleep and really relax. Completely different. Anything you'd like to say about that? Because that's why you need to go see Sally, because
Yeah, that's really interesting. So, like,
yeah,
I have this whole thing with being a human in general,
yeah,
in in communion with other humans, because I'm a very independent person. So, like, I would really love to just be by myself all the time.
yeah.
But that's not entirely true, because we do need each other. And I think the purpose of being a human on the planet is to give and receive love to one another. I think that's our entire purpose. I think
I
most of our journey is to heal our wounds. I
mm,
think we come in with some ancestral pieces, and then we have our own wounding in our cultures along the way. I think healing our own wounds is our big journey, and then also um, evolution, taking things to a bigger level. And I think that you have to have other people in order to do that. I mean,
yeah.
it takes a sperm and an egg to create a new person, right?
Mm, mhm.
Like, so I try and surround myself around people that are a little bit different than me so that I can learn from them.
Mhm.
And I'm very curious about people, and I think that ultimately we're better together. As much as my, like, independent streak wants to do everything by myself, um it's just not true, unfortunately.
I know. I'm the same way. I'm an executor. So I'm like, I can't join groups. I need to just get going. I'm an original
Totally.
New Yorker. Like it's like
Totally, totally, totally. And I think it's, you and I have had a long conversation about balance and, like,
yeah,
equanimity. And I think it really is about the balance of having enough alone time and being with another person and being in
yeah,
community with people, because we do need to take care of ourselves first and foremost. And we do
right.
need to clean and clear ourselves. And then from that space,
Yeah,
communing with another person. Um,
absolutely.
Yeah, is kind of where creation begins in whether it's thought form or actual creating a human or however those things rock on. Like, it takes, nobody's doing it themselves. Like, you
Yeah.
look at all these people, look at what this person did. And it's like, but that person didn't just do, I mean, come on.
Mhm.
Like, nobody's, on an island, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
nobody
And
runs a multi-billion-dollar company on an island by themselves.
no, and the heart space and using that, like you were saying, when you put your feet on the ground and you centered yourself, it's so cool. I love that you said that. With actors, when I work with actors, same thing. I tell them put your 2 feet on the ground and really center yourself because you can change the energy in the room by your vibrational energy, which is literally physics and it's proven. So if the client walks in and they're not having such a great day, but Sally, you're like holding that space for them, your intention will draw them into that versus the other way around. And some people will ask, well, can it be the opposite that that person's negative energy affect me? Not if you're holding the higher ground, not if you're holding the more higher level of awareness space, and where you're connected to energy versus matter. If you're not connected to the external and you're connected here, they can't move you, but you can move them, which is awesome.
And I think that's a really good point of what you're saying with the movement.
Mhm.
And I mean, negative people can pull you out of your mind. That's, the out of your mind kind of a thing. Like, you can get triggered and you can get sucked in if you're not holding space
Correct.
firmly enough. But yes, I agree. And most people that are in that negative space or frenetic energy or any of that are not aware of what they're doing because they're out of alignment. I think that longevity has a lot more to do with learning to become a healed healer. That's kind of a phrase that I learned in
I
energy
love
healing
that.
school. That was our purpose, was to be
Mm,
kind of a healed healer and non-judgmental and just like holding space. That
mm,
term of holding space really rings true for me.
mhm,
I feel like that's my only job. The body
mhm,
heals itself.
mhm,
I'm not really fixing anything or healing anything. Am I affecting your physical body? Yes.
mhm.
But honestly, I'm mainly providing a container for your body to heal itself. I'm a facilitator at best.
Absolutely. Wow.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I was thinking about when the person, your client is on the table. This is another thing that came up in research is that when the massage therapist is touching you, if you are an active participant, then it maximizes the impact any kind of touch. And I thought to myself, that reminds me, you and I had a funny moment where we both actually love to go to the dentist. No one would agree, probably.
Don't understand why the dentist is
We
great.
don't understand why, then it hit me why that made sense, because when I would go get acupuncture, I would actually close my eyes and do self hypnosis, and I would boost the acupuncture and send loving, healing, light energy, and I could visualize the colors going through, and I could feel my brain tingly going through all my organs and tissues. And I was thinking, if someone can do that while you're massaging them, and feel like your hands are sending compassion and love, or to their baby, or sending a healing light energy around their baby and hugging their baby with that divine light, that would boost it even more. Do you, because you have other modalities too, like singing bowl or and all this other stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, physical touch 101, especially in the American culture, is a little bit different
mm,
than like European cultures or like more
yeah.
touchy cultures. More like Latin cultures, like people that
Mm,
are like more huggy and touchy. We're not like that here. So physical touch is one aspect, but I also went to sound healing school so that I could record my own music because somewhere along the way I realized like I was so tired of like back in the day when we had CDs. I was tired of changing CDs for everybody every time because everyone was so picky about music and I was like there's got to be one song that works for everybody. Or there's got to be like something that like isn't disruptive to people because I read a study that said your brain does one of two things. It either likes order or it likes to not know what's coming in music.
mhm,
So I was like, okay, well, then I can narrow it down to like two things. And then I started learning about binaural beats and how to entrain
mhm,
your brain into deeper states. So The theta state is the state where your mind and your body heal the best. So I was like, "Oh, okay, then we got to get theta state music. We got to get we got to get into a theta state with their music." And I started listening to some binaural beats with my clients. And honestly, like, there's one song I've been listening to for almost 10 years with my clients, and I've
Mm.
probably had 2 people not like it. Like, that's it.
Wow.
Because it entrains your brain into a theta state within like 60 seconds.
Mhm.
And it's so just background that you just don't notice.
Mhm.
And people just dip in. And I noticed when I started doing that, that the work got deeper.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it's the same way that, like, if somebody's cold on your table, they're
Mhm.
going to be shivering and they're not going to be able to relax. So you got to put heat on them, right? You've got
Mm.
to create the container in which they can heal.
Mhm.
I'm much more of like an interior decorator for, the physical body than I am like affecting it in my physical way. So I create an energetic container. I create the music. I create the warmth, like everything. People walk into my office and they're like, "It's so yummy in here." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I need it like that." Yeah, I want to be in here too. It's my favorite place to be. I wanted it to have all of those elements. I'm actually working with a natural perfumer right now to create a signature scent to really come through like my message also in smell. So when you walk in,
Mm.
if you've gotten a massage in there once, then the next time your body's going to recall the music, the scent,
Mhm.
the place, and drop in deeper, faster.
Mhm.
And
That is
so,
beautiful.
yeah, like, I mean, why not do as much as you can?
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah, and
know,
I love that because that's very similar to hypnotic sessions, which is we bring you down from beta to alpha to theta state. So because you do the most learning in those states, slowing down the brain waves, and like you said, when they walk into the room, that they are conditioned to dropping in faster. And
right.
I felt that with my acupuncturist. Every time I went to her room, she would spray and I knew exactly what was happening and I am all for it. I'm like, I'm ready to go. We don't have to talk. Everything's coming off before she's out the room. I'm
Totally.
ready. I'm
Totally.
very
I already
conditioned.
dropped in. Already dropped in. Mind's ready. My
Yeah,
body's ready. I'm here.
let's
I'm
go.
prepared. So
Yeah.
that's actually interesting. I wanted to ask you about hypnotherapy sessions. So when you work with people, are you in training them to do self hypnosis in the future? Like you're
Yeah. So
facilitating it and
all
then
of it is, yeah, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis because you said something earlier about you said I can't make you do what you don't want to do. Same exact thing is all hypnosis is giving yourself permission. Hypnosis is giving yourself permission and you're literally going and the way Sally is guiding your client, the way you're guiding your client, I'm guiding mine. And they're actually creating in their imagination what it is that they're working towards, that presenting issue. But the physical body is completely relaxed, and the mind and the brain is the only thing that's highly alert and attuned and focused. I liken it to massage a lot because you're bringing all the senses in and taking them out of the external world so that you're not looking for your solutions on the outside when they really are on the inside. So if
totally.
you bring up compassion and serotonin and oxytocin, now the brain is triggering itself to organize itself. And when it taps into complete mind power, I call it wholeness perspective. So you're not coming in with that anger and that frustration. You vent it out, like, let's vent it out. And then let's go do the meaningful work. And then when they're applying that brain space to their issue, oof, they see tons of options, solutions. They come back with a blueprint. They're like, I know exactly what I got to do next. It's
Totally.
clarity.
Isn't it so interesting? I always find that with like meditation, where I'm like,
Yes.
there's periods of time where, like, running your own business, being a business owner, you're just like trying everything. And somebody's like, "Have you done this?" And everybody's got advice for you. You're not going to help you
Yes.
do anything, but they got a lot of advice for you. And you're like,
Yeah.
"Okay, I got to be on the latest platform, and I got to be on this, and I got to
Ugh.
be putting content out, and I got to like send out a newsletter, and I got to be da 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 da," right? And then you do that for a few months and you just get so burnt out that you have to just like sit down and go, "Oh, I'm out of my meditation practice, aren't I?" And then you sit down for like 10 minutes and meditate
Yep.
and it's like clear. And it's like,
Yeah.
why was I spinning my wheels for so long? You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
we all do it. We all can get there. I go to the forest and nature just because we know that it attunes you right away to divine energy, and I do that meditation there and prayer and things like that.
yeah.
But you and I, that's why I relate to you so much because we're always like, oh my God, all that craziness. When we know the answer is like doesn't have to be all that craziness. You know what I mean? But really, honestly, it really is the core of it is rewiring and training your brain to fire in the new identity that you want versus the old identity. But you mentioned something about with when you write your songs about the brain really not, what was it, that doesn't want to go into like the unknown, is it that you said, or something like that? What did you
So
say?
there's like two types of brains.
Mm-hmm.
One either wants to know what's coming or one does not want to know what's coming.
Bingo. So how that correlates to hypnotherapy is the brain wants to stay in what it knows, and when it doesn't know what's coming, it kind of like it freaks out because its job is to predict, and it predicts based on your past history. So if you approach your new goals with a past history mindset or frame of mind, you're literally working in the past. That's why you're not moving forward. So you have to sort of kind of, it's a lot, it's not as easy work as people think, and that's why you want to work with somebody who can guide you through that, because you're conditioning the physical body, which is where the subconscious shows up, to accept this change, and you're adding experiences and creating that, attaching those emotions, because when the emotion to that change is greater than the need to remain the same and in the old patterns, that's where you have the opening, the pathway to actually make it happen. Now your brain is completely on board and it's not fighting you anymore.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating. But I do that kind of work when if I go to a massage or to the dentist chair, I'm using my imagery and
Yeah.
visualization. I told Sally, remember Sally? I'm like, when the drill happens, I'm in a spaceship and I'm flying into outer
Totally.
space and I'm letting my brain create, and it's amazing.
I know they're always trying to talk to me, and I'm like,
Like, shut up.
you lay me down in a chair, I'm going to take a nap. Like, drill
Yeah.
all day. I don't
If
care.
we did a scan of our brains in the dentist chair, you and I would be in complete theta
Totally.
state.
I really love it. It's like
Mhm.
I get to be around people every day. I get to do healing work. Like, I get to be healed. Like, we all get to be
Yeah.
in that yummy space. There's also, always technology and information and data coming out about how good it is for us. So it's like
Mhm.
it brings together so many things. I could do massage for the rest of my life and still continue to learn something from it. It's never going to
Wow.
be stagnant.
That's why I always say, when you feel like your gut is telling you to go towards something, go towards it. I had the same experience as you. I was like, oh, I love God. I'm going to do hypnotherapy. What is that? Am I going to be like on stage in Las Vegas pulling rabbits out of a hat? What is that? Like, I had all these biases. And
Totally.
I had to, for me, I had to actually look at the data, and I had to look at pre-surgical outcomes and placebo effect and the power of the mind with healing, even with cancer patients. And I was blown away. And I said, well, God wouldn't give me something like that if it wasn't good. And so the intention of the heart of the practitioner, same thing as if you go to a friend, you ask a friend for advice, you better make sure you check in with that friend's heart. And
Totally.
they're giving you advice from the lens of their experiences. So you want to go places and work with people that can hold big space when you can't, that can see bigger when you can't. They have an expansive view of things when you're not able to, because when you're hurt, injured, or in pain or anything, you're really just focused on that thing. It's hard for you to expand your vision. Goes to somebody who can do that and hold you in that space.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good point too. Like, I love to always have people smarter than me around
Yeah.
me. Like, I
Hmm.
want to have people that I can learn from, whether that means that it's somebody in a different field,
Yeah.
that is something like, I don't know, like you and I, we talk for way too long most of the time, because it's just it like builds on each other, and it's so interesting to me because you are so data driven, and it's like when you touch people, it that's not data, but I love to have the data behind it, and you always have a good study that
Oh,
you
they're all
you
over
do your
in my
yeah,
pockets.
talk about a rabbit out of your hat.
I
Yeah.
know. Well, I
Get
wanted to
the data
thank.
out of the
I had to thank. I know. Good one. Exactly. Have,
hat.
have to thank you, Sally, because you said to me, Jessica, what you do is like I had said to you that I felt this calling 7 years ago about being a hybrid, and you're like, yeah, it's like where spirituality meets science, where spirituality meets science. I thought I was calling Sally just to have a conversation. Didn't know she was gonna get me all emotional. I was like, oh my God. So when you go to a massage with Sally, you might come out like, whoa,
You never, you never.
lightning, divine intervention.
It's
Um, it's so true. And one thing that you mentioned too about also don't wait for science to catch up. Sally, you said about, if it feels good to you, it's good.
yeah.
Because science is still catching up to so much in terms of like she said, I'm always in the research because I want to have it in my, I don't personally need it, but I want to have it in my back pocket for people, for my logicals, for my analyticals, because when they finally get the logic, they're like, okay, I'm ready to now feel.
Right.
um, but don't wait for the science, because even with touch and neuroscience, there's so much more ahead, and the science still hasn't caught up, or they don't have the tools and technology sometimes to measure it. If it feels right to you, put your hand on your heart and trust that it's right for you.
100%. 100%. And that's that, exactly what you do with the mind and exactly what I do with the body is like getting to that still point where you
Yeah.
can be still and quiet. And if you get quiet enough, you can hear.
Yes, you
If
can.
you're busy talking all the time, you can't hear any messages that are sent for you.
Yeah.
So it's our job to get quiet and to get still, to get physically still. You can't even feel what your body feels like if you're always moving it around, like
Yeah.
you've got to get physically still, you've got to get mentally still. And then it's what is that? Isn't that a Bible passage? Be still and
Yeah,
know.
be still and know. It's on my refrigerator. Be still and know.
It's true. I
Yeah,
didn't
be still and know.
I didn't say it. I'm just quoting it. I didn't write that one.
She's the author. We're revealing
That
that
wasn't me.
today.
That wasn't me, I can tell you. I didn't write that one. But it's a good one. But it is
Yeah,
true. It's true in that
yeah,
purest form. And I always say, if I'm ever frustrated in my life or I'm having trouble, I go back to simple. I go back to the most simplistic. Let's go back to
absolutely.
square one.
Absolutely. And while
Start.
you're on her table, you can be still and then optimize yourself, just send healing, loving signals through the heart to the rest of your body, to the baby. Oh my God. I imagine that if I'm not pregnant, but I imagine that. I was like, oh my God, I would do so much great imagery work as I was on your table with my
Totally.
child.
Totally.
Would do
Well, and I
that.
think that's why I really like pregnancy massage too, is because
Yeah.
people will come in because they're doing it for someone else. So
Yeah.
when you love someone else so much to do
Oh,
this for them, when you're doing it for your own baby, it's like it
yeah.
is a very different experience in that way.
Oh my God. And then your baby's gonna feel it because the heart is, what is it? I forget the numbers. Well, it has 40,000 neurons in it. So it's called the little brain. And it actually influences the large brain more than this way around. So I wrote an article for Psychology Today. It's my most read article, yay, about the heart's electromagnetic energy field. So when you're getting that massage, you can actually know that about your heart space, and it actually tells everything else in your body down to the muscle cells, organs, and tissues whether you're good or not good, and you can use that space to heal and send loving signals, and it'll first go to the brain, and then the brain will emit those signals, and then you can just bring that to the baby, and the baby's going to take it in, because you can actually affect up to 9 feet outside of you, which is amazing. You can actually change when you walk into a room.
Yeah.
I do it a lot. I do it in the prisons when I talk in prison.
Yeah. Well, and it's also like if you've ever seen people like disarm someone or really like
Yes.
bring down like somebody who's like
Yeah.
in a fight or something, like you don't have to participate in an argument. Just
Yeah.
because somebody's arguing with you, you don't have to match that. You can actually, without even saying anything,
Anything.
drop your energy down, send it out to them and drop their energy down.
Yes.
Like you can hold space for them
Absolutely.
within yourself to calm them down.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other thing that I think is
That's a
very
whole nother thing. And you could do that you could do that in negotiations too. Before you
yeah,
go
yeah,
in.
anything you want. Like you really have much more power. We are so much more powerful
Oof.
than what we realize we are. And
Mm,
I wish that that was like taught from day one. I wish
yeah.
that we really like accepted how insanely powerful and how simple things are.
Yeah.
Life is this outside landscape seems very chaotic, but it's
Yeah.
this is the only thing of importance that you need to deal with. Just keep this aligned. And from the place of alignment, your path will show itself. Like you're
Mhm.
not going to be off your path if you're in alignment. If your mind is calm and your body is in alignment, like you've got this. You can make, that whole law of attraction and manifestation, like yes, and there's more stuff to that. But like people were always like, if I won the lottery, you did win the lottery. You are your own winning lottery ticket. Like you have it. It's like the Wizard of Oz. Like it's been within you the whole time. Like, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
Like, look this way. It's not out there. It's in here.
Yeah. I
You
think
have
that we just sort of been conditioned to believe that our rescuer is on the outside, whether it's it's medicine and over medicating or a drug or whatever it may be. That's the vice that you're struggling with. We've been or even just waiting for the next person to come along because your heart is broken and you need somebody else to make you happy. And so, trust me, I've lived it before. So I'm
yeah.
speaking from a place of experiencing it. And I remember I got so curious about my sadness at that time. And I was like, okay, wait, it can't be about this. If I keep looking on the outside, I'm always going to lose. I will always lose when my solution is outside of me. And that's where this whole journey started. So it was in the valley that I got equipped. I would say it's in the dips that you become equipped. If
Totally.
you, Sally always says that I always rhyme and
I
just
do. I
go.
love them.
I do that on my Instagram. I just wanted to stick to your brain, okay?
It does. I love
It's
it.
like, Jessica, you're always rhyming. But yes, it's in the dips that you get equipped. Steer your mind where you want it to thrive.
Totally. Totally. Totally.
Like,
Well, and I always say to people a lot, like, no one's breaking your heart. You're breaking your heart. Like,
yeah.
no one is coming along and breaking your heart. You're doing it. Like,
Mhm.
where are you doing it? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, where are we breaking our own hearts? Like, it's a lot of, when people have like boyfriend, girlfriend drama, you really have to look
Yeah.
at it and be like, "Mm, but did they do something to you? Or are
Mhm.
you breaking your own heart? Like, are
Mhm.
you not connecting with something within you and you're looking for something outside of you to fulfill something that is impossible?
Yes.
No
Yeah.
one can fulfill you. That's a
Mhm.
that's an inside job.
Yeah. Ooh, that is an inside job. so, any last words you'd like to share about what you do, your specialty, or any last thoughts that you can share with people would be really great.
I think that, 3 deep breaths is one of the most
Mm,
powerful
my
things you
favorite number 3. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 3 sets of 3s. I love sets of 3s.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Take a pause
Mm-hmm.
often. There's plenty of time and space to get everything done. There's no
Mm-hmm.
rush. There's nothing outside of you. You have all the tools. You don't need another class. You don't even need to come get a massage. Like you don't need anything outside of you. You can utilize things such as hypnotherapy and massage to facilitate you.
We are tools. We're
Exactly.
just tools. We don't
Just
replace
facilitate.
anything else.
Yeah. When people
Mm-hmm.
come in and they say, I'm a mess, I'm like, you're not a mess. Your body is perfect. There's nothing wrong with your body. Your
Mm.
body's perfect, but we're going to amplify the good today.
Yes.
That's what we're going to do. So,
Yep. Yep.
um, yeah, I think
Love
our
that.
culture is really addicted to pain. I think we get attention from pain. I think it's a competition about who has the worst issues. And we have trained those
Yeah.
neural pathways to be, that this is the way we speak to each other. It's the language we communicate with. And we just have to have a
Mhm.
little courage and discipline to knock it off.
Knock it off. I love that. Oh, one more thing that just hit me because in the time that we are in, where we're zooming more, so there is not scientific data that can support touch through obviously like the connection on Zoom and things like that because you have this barrier, right? So what I want to encourage people with, and I sort of automatically did this because of the work that I do. So my mind is wired that way now. My brain is different than it was years ago. But when I Zoom with people and I feel that connection, I will say like put your hand up and like let's touch on the computer across the computer and take a moment. I've even gotten up and I'm like, let me hug you. And I said, and I'm like, stay right there with me, feel my heart. And I, I swear. So I don't think that it's impossible to create it. And I'm gonna tell you why. If in hypnosis And in placebo effect, you can create the state of reality that you want in your mind, and your brain can't tell the difference between reality and imagination. Why would this be any different?
Yep.
So do the action, be bold, be ballsy, and say, let's give a touch, or hey, I'm feeling you from my heart to yours, or I'm gonna throw
Yeah.
you kisses right now,
Yeah.
right?
Totally. 100%. 100%. Yeah. And that's kind of that. There's like an energy healing, there's distance healing that you also send energy. And it's not something that I've spent a lot of time practicing.
Mm-hmm.
But the people that do it very
Mm-hmm.
well,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I always say too, like if there's someone who's passed, or someone who you're just not around and can't speak to right now, but you have something in your heart you want to say, just sit down and visualize them being in front of you and speak to them as if they're there.
Yeah.
You can always do that. You can always do an energetic exchange. You can always bless each other. You can send
Yeah.
people blessings. You can send energetic hugs. I totally believe that. Yeah.
Can I share one thing that you're saying about this? Because I don't know if for some reason, in case somebody needs to hear this, but when my loved one passed, at the service, I did that. I asked everybody to sit in a circle. There was, five of us spread apart, and then some people were on Zoom and on the phone, and took them through an imagery journey. And like you just said, Sally, about energetically sharing that love, and had that the person persons that were present, they didn't know each other, some of them. And so at the end of it, they were surprised because I asked them to share what was their imagery journey, and three of them had the same exact imagery journey with our loved one, and they were like, they were stunned. And the
Yeah.
person, our loved one, said the same thing to all three that received it.
Yeah.
So, and also they're studying like the power of prayer for people who are on the other side of the world, and how physiologically your body responds and how they receive it. Or even like the global mapping, that crime rates go down when that energy is all connected and unified.
Yeah. Isn't that cool? Like
So
we have
cool.
that information. Like we know the facts. Why don't we do this?
All right. Well, we could stay here all. I mean, I wish we had like all of
Yeah,
us in our onesies. I have a one.
totally,
Do you have a
totally.
onesie?
Pajama party. I need one. I need one.
Target, Walmart. You need to get. I'm
Okay.
not going to talk to you on another Zoom until you get a onesie. But that'll be our next one, because we could do this all day, and it would be so good even to do an experience. But
Yeah,
it was a
totally.
joy. It was a joy. I'm really happy, Sally, that we got to do this.
I love it. Me too. Me too. Thank you so much for setting this up.
Absolutely.
Genius idea. I really love it. Every time that you and I talk, it always sparks all the
Thank
fun
you.
things. I'm
Me
going to
too.
be very inspired for the rest of the day, and I'll be thinking about things.
We're
Now
gonna
I'm
be like
like,
this.
I gotta look up some data. I got to remember to look up data
I
before
got it for you right here.
I always like, oh no, I didn't.
Ready.
I got to cite a study.
I
T-shirt.
got it. All right. So give me your hands. Let's say goodbye. You got them?
Thank you.
Okay. I feel your heart. I do actually right now. Oh, thank you, Sally. Thank you
Thank you.
so much.
Good to talk to you. Let's do it
Uh,
again.
okay. Mwah.